Jujutsu Kaisen ended literally a year ago, and I can bet money that nobody was expecting there to be a sequel or a spin-off series this soon. But I'm gonna get ahead of the game and get my anime cred so high by predicting the abilities and powers of our new main characters in Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo. Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo is a new short-term series written by Gege Akutami from the original, but drawn by Yuji Iwasaki, the manga behind Cypher Academy. Modulo takes place around 70 years in the future from the end of JJK, following our new main characters Yuka and Tsurugi Okkotsu, who are, if the names wasn't a hint enough, the grandchildren of Yuta Okkotsu and Maki Zenin, the only true ship that mattered, honestly. But an alien race with powers akin to cursed energy known as Sumerians have come to Earth to seek refuge. And that's about it, that's the overall plot. And since it's still super new, there isn't really much else to tell you. But in order to guess these powers, I'm just gonna make a lot of assumptions and hope one of them sticks to the dartboard. Hopefully you agree. Okay, let's start with Tsurugi because he's easier for me to BS and make stuff up for. So just like Maki Zenin, Tsurugi seems to have a heavenly restriction shown by his Zoro-like training and kinda outright confirmed when Maki says that he's a lot like her. Having a heavenly restriction gives the person a boost in their physical abilities such as strength, speed, and enhanced senses at the cost of their cursed energy. Either having a very small amount like Maki did in the beginning of the series, or none at all like Toji or end of series Maki. The only thing we've seen Tsurugi do so far is Bato sword drawing, which is a new shadow style technique we've seen Miwa and Kusakabe do. Normally, the technique requires the user to use cursed energy to increase the speed of the sword swing, but with Tsurugi's lack of cursed energy, it seems that his cursed tool and sword, Honoyagi, makes up for it. Honoyagi infuses the blade with sparks made between the scabbard and the guard, so when it's unsheathed, it creates an Elden Ring level fire sword, basically. And that's all we know about him. So what will his abilities or skills be in the future? We know he wants to be like Maki, so punching, kicking, sword swinging, that's for sure, that's obvious. But I believe he'll be more like Toji than anything. Let me explain. Maki and Toji are very similar, but don't get me wrong, it wouldn't be crazy to say that Toji is a more creative fighter. From using a variety of regular weapons like knives and guns, to combining multiple different cursed tools to fight Gojo, and even his use of cursed spirits speaks to his strategic mind and creative abilities. And now we are 70 years into the future. The advancement of cursed tools and technology as a whole will have to be pretty significant from our last time we've seen them. Now, I don't want what Boruto did when there's a capsule and they can produce a jutsu without forming any chakra. I would literally laugh out loud if there's a device that you press a button, boop, and there goes a curse technique. No, I do not want that. But I believe Tsurugi can be the first person we see on screen, or paper, to use all the new shadow style techniques, using new and different cursed tools and items to make up for the cursed energy that's usually needed. There are only like 3 moves we've even seen from the new shadow style, and it's one of the many things Modulo can expand on from the original series. I think this idea perfectly blends his dream of becoming as strong as Maki while adding new elements to make the story feel distinct and fresh. Fight the power! Moving on to the younger sister, Yuka Okkotsu. And I'm truly stumped on what her curse technique could be. Starting with what we do know, Yuka seems to be proficient at martial arts, as she's able to keep up with her brother, briefly, in their small fight, as well as landing a hit on that kidnapper. According to the manga, the Savage Jaw strike move Yuka used, which, let me say, don't they look a lot like Rika's hands and fingers? Maybe some foreshadowing? I don't know. But that move is just a normal reinforced strike utilizing her innate cursed energy property. So just like how Hakari's energy is like rough sandpaper, or how Kashimo has electric cursed energy, Yuka seems to have some sharp and piercing cursed energy, causing the man she attacked to bleed. Again, we don't know much, but I have 3 ideas of what we could see from Yuka in this series. Number 1. Yuka has a technique completely separate from her martial arts moves and lineage. For the sake of keeping things fresh and interesting, I can possibly see Akutami writing a brand new ability for her, nothing we haven't seen in the series at all, so no Yuta's copy or anything from the Zenin clan like Mai's construction. It's an idea, but it would just be kinda sucky for us to not get anything from the original, but we don't know. Option number 2, we can get a twist on techniques we've seen before. I touched on it briefly before, but Yuka has an insane lineage. There's Yuta Okkotsu, the entire Zenin clan, and even the Gojo clan is a distant relative. She could have just the exact same technique, so copy, or that one guy stone earth clap thing, yeah, remember that? But everyone knows, including Akutami, a 1-for-1 match like that is boring and can be seen as lazy, as it is a sequel or spin-off series. You don't need to see the same things over and over again. But having a fun twist on pre-existing ones could spice things up. A popular theory is that Yuka has the 10 shadows technique and is manifesting parts of Shikigami onto her body. So the divine dogs manifested as those sharp claws that we saw earlier, just like how Sukuna was able to use Max Elephant's water attack as his own move. And yes, technically the 10 shadows is an inherited technique through the Zenin clan, so it's completely possible for Yuka to have inherited it. However, it's not the Omnitrick. The technique itself summons creatures. And yes, even though the King of Curses was able to manifest some abilities from the Shikigami, he never manifested it onto himself. For example, he uses Maharaga's adapting wheel to speed up Maharaga's adapting ability. Don't you think if he could use it for himself, he would adapt to Gojo no problem? It's more likely that the user is a conduit for all external abilities, so like that water move we saw from the elephant and possibly Nue's lightning are good candidates. We could see a version of copy where Yuka herself has to eat a part of a person and their curse technique manifests as a physical part on her body, or maybe there could be a mix of copy and construction where she could create an object with a curse technique imbued into it. I just think we haven't seen what Mai's curse technique could be, like especially if they have Yuta's curse reserved lineage and Yuka's body, it could just be amazing. But that's just an idea. And finally, option number 3. Yuka has a curse technique that can only be used once. Originally, I only had 2 ideas for her, but as I was writing this, I couldn't stop thinking about how long the series actually is. Modulo is only supposed to run for 6 months, which if you think about it, it is 4 chapters a month, meaning only around 24 chapters long. Not really long enough to do anything, really. I'm assuming that there's going to be some big final fights, and imagine how sick it would be for the whole series we just see Yuka fighting normally like we did in the first chapter, and for this big epic finale, she pulls off some ultimate move or ability. Now, I'm not thinking of how Kashima's curse technique can literally only be used once before dying. I'm thinking the main goal of Yuka is to get strong enough to get Yuta's ring back. And how fitting would it be if her technique cannot be fully realized without that ring, possibly fully manifesting Rika and utilizing all the copy techniques from the OG series and all the new ones throughout the 70 years that we haven't seen. And then after that fight, the ring breaks, letting Rika finally rest and become full circle. But those are just my ideas for Yuka and Tsurugi Okkotsu's abilities and powers in this new JJK sequel. I kind of threw like a broad net of options, but I'm really leaning towards number 3 for Yuka because it's such a short series, and Tsurugi can only do so much. She can punch and kick, come on now. But what do you guys think of my ideas? If you have any others, please let me know in the comments down below. Alright, peace.